What is up, everybody? We are 5 months in here on the Bitcoin monthly chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Crypto in absolute shambles, approaching bear market, oversold territories. I'm just here for it with you. I want to start the video actually by just showing you something. This is a post I saw, I think last night. Our BTC price target is $0. That's not just for a shock factor. It's where the math takes us. So as I start this video, as I start this analysis, as I just kind of hang out here with y'all as we fall into bear market lows, I just want to let you know where I'm coming from, because I know there's some people that are new that come across my channel. This was from a live stream, and I'm not going to show a clip, but this is a live stream from December 22nd, 2018. Bitcoin is in bottom range. And, you know, in that bear market low, and it's not the only time, there are so many people. There are so many haters. There are so many, just when we're falling, the bears come out, the haters come out all confidently, and they talk about just, you know, Bitcoin's going to zero, crypto's going to zero. And you know what? So far, every single time they've been wrong. So here's my live stream back here in December 2018 in the bear market lows, just tracking it. And I actually want to make a note, that blue box that Bitcoin is in, I want to make a note of that. We're going to do some analysis in this video. But long story short, Bitcoin and crypto didn't go to zero. And here we are now, and we are falling. And Bitcoin once again and crypto once again is going to zero. So I want to talk about all of these things. I want to kind of dissect the charts, jump into it. So if you're out there, we'll definitely talk about PMI ISM. This is not a situation where just because PMI turned up, and sometimes on these indicators it's not showing, but just because PMI turned up, Bitcoin and crypto is going to turn up in that same exact moment with it. But I want to talk about that as well. But we're gonna talk about everything that's going on right now. Not been wrong about anything if you watch my analysis. In fact, the post-quantitative tightening dip that is happening right now, I've talked about. My analysis is as a macro value investor. Please watch my videos if you are out there. It will do you some good. So hit the subscribe on the way in. Hit that like button if you're out there with me. Genuinely, smash that like. I need the love after, you know, streaming through these times. Dennis. I shouldn't spotlight these haters. I really shouldn't. But really, do you guys watch my videos? Do you watch my analysis? I don't make predictions in any of my videos. I really don't. That's what's crazy to me. I'm sorry that a lot of you are clickbait or like thumbnail investors. You just look at the title and the thumbnail and you make your decisions based on that. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, let's get in the video. I'm sorry. I'm spotlighting the negativity. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm not going to do it. All right. So I want to start by going through a couple things. There it is. Bitcoin price target zero. Once again, this is not my first bear market. This is a 2018 bear market lows doing a live stream. And now here I am. I'm doing a live stream once again. Colbisi letter. This is absolutely insane. On October 6th, crypto markets hit. Think about this. It's only February. It's only February 5th. On October 6th, crypto markets hit a record high market cap of 4.3 trillion. Today, the crypto market is worth just 2.3 trillion, losing $2 trillion worth of market cap in 4 months. And by the way, I just want to say this because right now it's so weird how I'm just here as an analyst, crypto content creator. I'm tracking these cycles with you. Like I'm doing a live stream as we crash. That's the reality of the situation. That's what I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. I'm a macro long-term person. I am building multiple businesses in crypto. I'm heavily invested in crypto. I put in the thumbnail like I'm all in because it almost like I am. I'm not going to hide that from anybody. And I'm not going to play a game where I'm like, oh, we're crashing. Let's act like I'm out of the market now because I knew this was going to happen. Nobody knew, everybody. Go to your favorite influencers right now that are just talking about bear markets and see what they were posting in October. Go see what they were posting in October. That's, if you want to call a bear market, call it here. But everybody calling a bear market here is ridiculous to me. I don't ride the wave like that. I'm always bullish because again, I was doing a live stream back here in December 2018. This is what the live stream looked like. Only 2,000 views, 2,600, like 2,600 to 2,700 views. Because I'm just tracking my journey. I'm tracking the dips with y'all. I'm a macro long-term investor. 46% of crypto's entire value has been wiped out since October. And I'm bringing that up because I know so many of you are like that too. That's why I'm talking about myself. Like, what am I doing here? I'm all in. I'm building multiple companies. This is just what I've been doing over cycles. Even when we get in these times where I'm doing a live stream and we're doing videos and it's just like all this negativity. Like, why? If you don't like crypto and you think it's going to zero, just like leave. Do you not have anything better to do with your life right now than just like spam hate comments on YouTube videos? It's weird. So this is a good post from Kobesi, just laying out the facts. 46% of crypto's entire value has been wiped out since October 6th. But here's what I want to say. Bear markets arrive when markets least expect it. So I want to push back on that a little bit. I commented, and I said, if this is the bear market arriving, we're in trouble. I think it's the bear market ending. It's never a pleasant feeling. Because that's just the thing. The bear market arriving, we've been in a bear market. Crypto has not ended the bear market. And here's the thing. If you go look at any chart, even Bitcoin, again, if you want to talk about entering a bear market, you start looking at tops, number one, entering a bear market, but you don't start saying the bear market is starting when we're here. Right here. I know it's popular to do so. I should have started bear content a month ago if I was a smart content creator that didn't want to get so much hate for being just macro bullish. I should have done that. That would be the strategic play. If I'm playing this game as like a content creator that just wants the best engagement, I would have a month ago started pivoting to, let's start talking in January about the bear market now, or at least putting that feeler out there. But everybody, you start talking about the bear market when you start getting all this bearish divergence. If you really want to start calling the bear market, not when we're entering this oversold territory that literally has marked every bear market low. That's what's going on here. Going back to 2014 on the Bitcoin chart. Not to mention that we just printed a business cycle PMI print higher. And there's definitely hints that that's not going to continue, and we might consolidate back down on that PMI. But I think on the macro, in terms of cycles, in terms of new business cycles, I think we are just getting ready to expand into a new business cycle. And again, that could take us into spring. We have to wait a little bit, but I'm just saying, in terms of where Bitcoin is right now, I'm very bullish on crypto. I remain bullish on crypto. This is not the first time this has happened. This has happened time and time again. We're going to do some analysis. I'm just kind of trying to just vent maybe a little bit. That's usually what my live streams are for. Probably not the best analysis, but more just venting and just kind of being here with y'all as we do just crash. You don't lose anything unless you sell it. Agreed. Not the first time I've made this mistake. If we can weather the storm, the upside will still hit. That is it. Weathering the storm. Dan, you're an honest man, but it still hurts. Will not disagree that it hurts. I never like this. I just never like this. I think even like back here doing this live stream, December 2018, I'm like doing content creation. I'm putting my thesis out there, but it's just like, dude, if you go back to 2018 on just the Bitcoin monthly chart, where are we? I mean, look at this move back here. Just doing videos there is just not fun, not pleasant, doesn't feel good. This live stream doesn't feel good. Like this is not fun, but it is what it is. And there is a piece of me that just is excited because we're entering this undervalued like area in a space that I think has so much upside and so much growth. I saw this post. I've never been more bullish on crypto because the rules-based order is collapsing and the code-based order is rising. So the short-term price doesn't matter. As international law breaks down, we will need not just on-chain currencies, but on-chain companies. As the post-war order breaks down, we'll similarly need the post-internet order. States will fail and the network will take their place. We need internet capitalism. We need internet democracy and we need internet privacy. So we need cryptocurrency. And it's just a great post because even I think this, we need internet capitalism, we need internet democracy. What crypto is delivering, we are in a technology phase that we really have not seen since the internet came into play. And when I think about that narrative and what he's talking about in that post, I do kind of get excited as a value investor in the long term because we talk about an S&P dipping. There's going to be consolidations along the way. I want to go back and just show you something. I've been talking a lot about the late 90s and the roaring 90s when there was this productivity boom that I think is going to happen right now. I think this is what's getting ready to happen on a macroeconomic scale. I want to just make a note in the 90s. Look at the dips along the way of the productivity boom. The internet was a part of that. Right now, I think we're going to be in a similar area, and crypto is a part of that. And right now, when I sit here and I see people, they're posting about, we're going to zero. Our Bitcoin price target is zero. Look at the contrast of a post like this versus a post like this. Like, it's crazy how right now, if you just go out there and you just look at sentiment, you go look in the comments of this live stream, it's so contrasted. And I'm on the bullish side. Like, I've never been more bullish on crypto. Though I don't like to, cover the charts when we're collapsing once again. I've never been more bullish. And so much of it has to do with the technology and the narrative that it delivers and all that. And even the charts. Well, we're going to look at the charts. Absolutely. I want to break down Bitcoin. I wanted to mention this with everything going on right now. I haven't covered this a lot because I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But this Bitcoin dominance chart is crazy to look at. Bitcoin dominance, even in this mess, is falling, right? That's just something. And I guess we're definitely going to talk about it. Like, we're definitely going to talk about it and go over it. I want to look at the others chart versus Bitcoin. This is altcoins versus Bitcoin. A huge part of my thesis, as you know, many disagree, is the moving with PMI in the business cycle. And I do find it interesting that Bitcoin dominance is falling. You see this little uptick in terms of altcoins versus Bitcoin right now as PMI just printed higher. This could continue bottoming out, PMI and the chart, but I just think it's interesting. I want to discuss that. But the contrast is crazy that's going on right now. Here's an observation. Actually, I'm going to get that in a minute. I want to put this out there because I think this is kind of a view that is like, it causes a lot of debate. I'm curious to know what side you think or what side you're on. But with all of the things that the Fed has done with liquidity extraction, with the multi-year bear market that we've been in when we think of PMI and crypto in general, now that quantitative tightening is over, I think that's a very big thing that's going on, the liquidity aspect. The prolonged cycle that we've been in, the bear cycle that we've been in, that I think is getting ready to end. But then there's this. Banks are about to lose their monopoly on yield on money markets. What would you do if your multi-decade long profit-generating strategy was coming to an end? Tank the price of Bitcoin, coordinate it, and dump loads buying back while retail suffers. I don't trust anyone right now. I mean, call it a conspiracy, but it really does seem like that to me. And it's just the perfect environment to do this. If banks, institutions, the big players that haven't been in crypto, they're like, dude, we got to get in. And there's going to be this redistribution and changing of hands. There's no better time to do it than after years of record-breaking quantitative tightening and liquidity extraction that has really led to what we see on the charts. Look at, I mean, from the swing high in March 2024, we are in bear market oversold territory. There's no better time to do this, to implement this changing of hands, to implement this getting into position because of what's about to happen. Because clarity is about to pass, I think. And, you know, the whole debate on yield, I think, is going to be in favor of crypto and against banks. And I think they're freaking out right now. That's just my opinion. I realize that's something that a lot of people just don't agree with. It's just my opinion. Dan, Bitcoin dominance is falling because there are so many alts compared to previous cycle, and people are not selling all their 2021 bags already lost, but Bitcoin is dumping and major alts dumping. I'm not sure I understand the theory behind that. There's more and more, I definitely agree, there's more and more altcoins across the board. There's insane amount of altcoins, but it's always the same thing. Doesn't matter. There could be 1 billion, there could be 3 billion altcoins. When the majority of them are basically at zero, there's still only like 1,000 that take up like market share and mind share in the crypto space. I feel it's definitely manipulation. BlackRock and the institutions have way more than retail, and they control it now. They are purposely crashing it fast, so when May liquidity comes, we're ready. Everybody, by the way, I appreciate you cruising through. Smash the like. If we're on YouTube, I really hope, I don't know why, like after a half hour or so, YouTube just ends my live stream. It just cut me off. So if that happens, I apologize, but hopefully it won't. I like your positivity, but this feels really nasty. Been here 9 years. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing these YouTube videos since 2018 when the bear market started. It does feel nasty, but I have a question for you. I mean, if you think about, anybody that's out there, including the person that commented, but like, if you think about when you were here and you were here, right? I mean, didn't it feel nasty and equally as nasty? Because right now that's kind of where we are. And that nasty feeling is like, that was where the best opportunity was. And I'm not saying that, hey, go start buying, go all in. But I'm just saying, like, this is like on repeat now. Every cycle. I mean, here's 2014. Felt nasty there too. So thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. Dan, my family's been in on Bitcoin since $100. If people think this is bad, imagine being in since pretty much the start. It's so true. I mean, we're zoomed out. There's $100 back here. Look at all of it. Look at all the dips, everybody. Like, look at all this mess. And even in that macro mess, there's just huge red moves. It's just, it really is the same thing over and over. And maybe this time it does go to zero, right? I always say that. That's core at my risk strategy. Be careful. It could all go to zero. Like this guy's price target is zero. That's where the math takes us, apparently. But how many times have we been people have been calling zero? It's like, okay. Our risk model, I wanted to go through our risk models a little bit just because, I mean, I'm going to share just a little bit with you, even if you're not a member. If you're not a member, get into our risk system. We have a free trial in the link below, but 20 risk score for Bitcoin right now, everybody. And just, this isn't like, we didn't just slap on a chart. There is so much data, in our risk algorithm that, all these things, all these different data points being brought together, and it's not predictive. This Bitcoin risk model in particular, and all of the assets that we have back here, Ethereum and all the altcoins, not all of the altcoins, but the altcoins we have, this is not predictive. But I just want to let you know, as I sit here, at a risk score of 20 on Bitcoin. This is data. This is not an opinion, and this isn't something we came up with. Price was higher 73% of the time after 3 months and 100% of the time after a year. So you can sit out there and you can dwell in negativity and leave negative comments on somebody like me just because I'm bullish. But I will tell you one thing right now. If this plays out, that Bitcoin and crypto in general is higher a year later from now, and I don't know how much higher it would be, but if this data repeats, that is to say, at this risk, we're at 100% of the time after 1 year higher, I will gladly take on all of your hate and negativity, everybody calling me wrong for being a bull, as I sit here and I keep building, because that means I'm building and preparing for the next level up. And that has been what I've been doing. And so that's a Bitcoin risk model. I think when we get to Ethereum, I'll take a glance at the Ethereum risk model. I'm not even sure what the risk score is, but Ethereum right now, you can just see breaking below $2,000. It's just crazy. So let's start talking about some crypto charts. I've been kind of rambling. Appreciate you out there. I'm just I'll start banning the haters instead of, unless a hater makes a good point. I would love for one person, instead of saying this guy's been wrong for the last 2 years or 5 years, I would love to just explain how I've been wrong about anything, or more importantly, what you are right about. What is your thesis? If you're so bearish on crypto, why are you here on a crypto video commenting? I feel like all the negativity we see is people projecting their overexposure to the markets and kind of their like panic. I don't know. That's what I think. Zero means absolutely nobody's interested. Very dumb sentiment from anyone that says that. Gary, I agree with that. And like, I was talking to my wife the other day, like, think about that. It's such a good point. How is a Bitcoin price target 0? How would that even be possible? Because everybody else in the world I'll buy it. I'll buy all the Bitcoin. And I'm sure there'll be one other person that wants to trade that with me, and it won't be a 0. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't make sense to me. I was talking to my wife, and it was just like, we talk about like, dude, this is a bummer, you know, entering this phase where we're just like, we're literally in bear market low territories. Every time bear market, like Bitcoin is bottomed, like we're approaching those levels. If you look at the RSI, and I'm talking to my wife, I think the other day it was, and it's just like, we're invested in crypto. I've spent years and years building multiple companies in crypto. Like this is like, I've invested so much. I put all in the thumbnail because it is kind of like that. Like, it's not like all my money's in crypto, but it's just like, I've invested across my companies and put so much time, and so many of you have too. It's like, I'm in this. And we were talking, and it's like, I mean, well, again, extreme contrast analysis. What's the worst that can happen? I guess it goes to 0. And if it goes to 0, I guess I'll just buy all the crypto. I'll buy all the crypto. and then if it all just doesn't work out, everybody, then it is what it is. You know, I've done videos and I say, like, if I fail, I'm failing in front of everybody, and I accepted that. All right. It's going to be all right, everybody. Yeah, it's definitely not fun. I will say that. You know, let's keep doing this. Here's an observation that welcomes all the bears and haters to criticize, so we can start talking about some charts. This is a 2-week chart. Every time the price has gone below the lower Bollinger Band since 2014 has marked the bottom. And I'm not saying, I don't think he's saying, right? And I'm not reading this to say it's going to repeat exact, but I think it's important to pay attention to data, especially as sentiment is so bad and everybody's calling for 0. It has marked the bottom, or very near the bottom, before a strong recovery. We're below it now. Just look at that. Look at that Bollinger Band. It's crazy. It really does mark bottoms And when I'm like, the one benefit of, I started my YouTube channel right here, 2018, the top of a bull market. So if you wonder how I can sit here and cover crypto in these times, it's because like my first year or so of crypto content creation was like every day, just like we were going lower. So I kind of, maybe I developed some thick skin back then in the 2018 bear market. But the benefit of kind of doing the content creation, or even if you've been out there over the years watching, not just me, but other crypto content creators in times like this, is like, put aside the Bollinger Band, it is like, man, when we do get in these areas, it always does feel terrible. But then looking back, it's like, man, I remember how terrible that felt, right? I remember how terrible it feels each time, but it literally, that terrible feeling marked the bottom. So if you have, and it's not like a 100% hit rate, again, there's always risk you need to manage. But if you have that feeling, and this is the irony behind it. So the masses, I would say, get the feeling, and it is like, I hate this. I'm done with this. Like, I'm out. I'm done. And then from there, they go online and they comment because they need it to fail, because they're out. They're sidelined. I bet you 80% of the negative comments I get are people that are sidelined, and they are absolutely desperate that crypto does fail because they can't take this feeling, the bad feeling, anymore. I've accepted the bad feeling. When we're dipping like this, I accept it, and if my risk is managed, I accept it, and I kind of start getting excited by it, because every time it's literally, it's been an opportunity zone. And I'm not saying that like go buy, but Bollinger Band technical indicator suggests something very similar. Only about, I just wanted to point this out. This is very random, but this is Eric, Bloomberg analyst, ETF analyst. Only about 6% of the assets in the Bitcoin ETFs have left. 94% hanging tough, despite nasty 40% downturn and many being underwater. I think that's telling. I just wanted to bring that up. It is not game over, Alex. It's not game over. At least not in my mind. At least not the way that I see it. And by the way, I started the video by showing this live stream, not showing a clip, but 2018, December 2018, Bitcoin's $3,800. Bitcoin is in bottom range is the title of the video. It wasn't game over then, and I definitely don't think it's game over now. So I did want to bring this up, though. A lot of people in the recent couple of weeks, it's just been this thing, like bear market starting, however you want to say it. And I just really think the most valuable time to call about a bear market is like right here, if you're going to do it. It's right here if you're going to do it, right? But like, in my opinion, it's not right here. Even if there's going to be this massive capitulation, it's just not right there. That's not when you call the bear market. It's not right here, even if there's going to be more capitulation. And I'm just saying, it's not right here. Now's the time we start talking about we're towards the end of a bear market. There's two really big reasons why I want to show you right now. I'll show you 3 very good reasons why it's not a good time to just start saying the bear market started. It's a good time to start saying prepare for the ending and the bottoming out of a bear market. That isn't saying the bottom is in, but start being mindful, because number one, here's 1 out of 3 that I want to show you. We are in oversold territories, entering that oversold territory where Bitcoin has bottomed in every bear market since 2015. So on the RSI, the weekly RSI on Bitcoin is a serious matter. It's not the only thing that matters, but it's definitely a serious indicator. We are at that area, okay? And by the way, let me just point this out to you. Boom, got very oversold here in 2022. That was the beginning of bottoming out, but just notice, it even went a little bit lower here in October 2022, okay? So that's number 1. And then number 2 is this. And for me, this is so important. The time to call a bear market starting, once again, just to give you this contrast, is up here. And it's also monitoring this. That's the business cycle. That's the PMI. It's topping out. It's falling. Why is it starting to fall? What's the macro going? Like, what's going on in the macro? And you know what is going on in the macro, besides the PMI falling there, is this. I failed. If I was wrong about anything, it absolutely was this. Not paying attention to this more. And the PMI. This is when you call the bear market. When the crypto charts are starting to fall at the top, right? And we're getting we're getting ready to go into quantitative tightening for the first time ever, liquidity extraction. And we have the PMI chart is clearly topping out. That is the time to call the bear market, right? Back here. But it's definitely not here. After quantitative tightening just ended and PMI actually starts expanding. And that's not to say it's definitely game on. We're going to keep expanding. I think there's, in the next couple of months, room for more prints lower because of just different factors. I'm not going to get into this video. But we're at the end of all that contraction, I think, and the start of a new business cycle. That's number 2. So it's a good idea to start exploring the end of a bear market because, number 1, oversold on the RSI, where we've been oversold in pretty much all of these bear markets look at this, going back to 2015, number 1. Number 2, we're at the end of business cycle contraction, getting ready to go into expansion. Maybe it takes a few more months. And then number 3, it really is a lot of it having to do with, what risk is saying. What sentiment saying, number 1, but what is risk saying? This is our Bitcoin risk model. It's at a 20. You can go back and you can just look at when we start falling. Look, here's 2018, 23, December 2018, December 1st, 23. There's so much data in this heat map and this risk model, but this low risk score of 20 is very reminiscent and commonplace of a bear market low formation. And they all happen differently. If we zoom in, this was the 2018. Look how quick, boom, and it's done. Like within a month, it was like, boom, done. And then if you notice back here, just very extended in these 20 area, even sub 10. Look, there's a 6, but we're at 20. I think so much in terms of the time frame of it has to do with Fed monetary policy and the business cycle and liquidity. So much of it has to do. And we were in the middle of, and actually in June, just to give you a sense, in June of 2022, right here, when Bitcoin went from 28 and then boom, it's 17, like we're at 20 right now. This was the beginning of quantitative tightening. So that's where Bitcoin risk score was then. Right now, we're at a similar risk score. Price is higher, but QT just ended. And we're getting signs of business cycle expansion. You can be as bearish as you want, and I respect that. I really do. Like, I have nothing against people that want to be bearish and think we're going to $20,000. Like, I don't hate on anybody at all. But I'm just trying to propose to you why maybe right now isn't the best time to start thinking that way because of just data. This isn't just my opinion, just doing a video talking to you about Bitcoin and crypto are going to be fine. They're going to the moon. Like, there's reasons why I think it's a good time to be macro bullish, and it's a good time to think that, it's towards the end of a bear market, not the beginning. So that's Bitcoin on the weekly. So there are the 3 reasons, right? The business cycle, it's the end of contraction, towards the end of contraction. Quantitative tightening just ended. So it's the macro landscape of things. It's RSI being oversold at this level. It's not a good time to start being like, beginning of a bear market. People should have been talking about the beginning of the bear market months and months and months ago. That should have been when all of this whole thing started, and it wasn't. And then thirdly, our risk models. It's a huge piece for me. Yeah. See you in 3 years. I challenge that. I challenge it, not just challenging you, but I'm challenging myself. I'm challenging our risk models. We'll see. But that thought that you have, to me, is dangerous, because all of this data that I'm bringing to you right now and this piece of data. 100% of the time after 1 year, when Bitcoin was at this risk score, it was higher. So what are we going to see in 3 years? What's in 3 years? You think it's 3 years until a bull market starts? When Bitcoin is at these levels? Maybe you're right, but I just challenge you. I push back. I definitely push back on that. It started in October, Dan. But that's just my point. Like, this whole thing about the bear market, starting, it should have been, I should have seen all these headlines then, but it wasn't. It was like after the October 10th capitulation, there are people that are just hardcore the bear market starting now or whatever, that October 10th, this was not their tune. It was, okay, now we can continue to all-time high. I'm just saying, if you want to like give people that are bullish on the macro a hard time, I push back a little bit and say, those people should have been calling the bear market starting back in October. And it's just like they weren't. And you can go look. Just go look at their posts. I've never seen a bull run. So are people trying to say that we just skipped a bull run? I agree. We've not seen a bull market, even with Bitcoin. I know that sounds crazy because it's like that was a bull market, but that's the power of it. When we get a bull market, it's going to be explosive to the tune of probably parabolic in my view. Altcoins the same. But you go to Ethereum chart. It's a perfect example. We've not seen a bull market. Why? And I've been explaining, not because it's absolute fact, but it's my opinion. It's this green line. It's the business cycle. And it's the contraction that we've been in. Bull markets happen when we're getting expansion, and we've had record-breaking contraction and suppression and sideways. Just look at that. So if there are hints that we're going to get massive stimulus, interest rate cuts, and a productivity boom because of things like AI, we better start paying attention to this starting to expand, because when it expands in a prolonged way, that's when bull markets happen. And that's why I think the bull market hasn't happened yet. So that's just my thought. Everybody has their own thoughts. So that is Ethereum. We're going to get to Ethereum in a moment. But so here's Bitcoin dominance. I don't know why I have so much trouble with it. I really don't. Get my brush. Quantitative tightening. Let's just start here. QT ended 2019. By the way, if you've been watching my actual analysis, the post QT dip is obviously happening, right? Here's QT ending in it's not September, basically the end of July 2019. So there's QT ending. We dipped, right? Here's QT ending December 1st. We're dipping. The post QT dip is happening. It wasn't a for sure thing, but it's something that I think was important to anticipate, and it's happening. I attribute the dip that we're in right now, I attribute it way more to just the macroeconomic landscape than I do the beginning of a bear market. And that's a very big reason why. It's the post-QT dip. But going to the Bitcoin dominance chart, I just think it's a cool anchor to look at on the Bitcoin dominance chart, because in terms of quantitative tightening ending in July 2019, this is what was going on with Bitcoin dominance. And now we just had QT ending in 2025 in December. And here's where we are in Bitcoin dominance. I mean, we're testing the lower high Fibonacci in a similar sense if we were testing this lower high Fibonacci. So if I look at Bitcoin dominance, I just think it's interesting. Swing high to swing low. I don't remember where I charted that from, but I'm going to chart it from kind of right here before it fell. This Fibonacci right there is a lower high Fibonacci, right? And then from the last cycle, Bitcoin dominance high to swing low, here is our new retracement, 786 to 618 Fibonacci. So Bitcoin had tested the upper end of that range. This is when I did my, altcoins are less risky than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin dominance since then has fallen versus altcoins. But now we're at the lower range of the Fibonacci. And it's just with the state of things right now, I shouldn't say it's so crazy, because if you actually go to December, let's just go to December 2018 on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Remember, Bitcoin looking really, really bad. Let's see. Where's December 2018? Why am I having so much trouble with this? So Bitcoin price, October 2018 to December 2018 is when that kind of crazy capitulation happened, which we're going to talk about in a moment into this Fibonacci. But October, so let me go back to Bitcoin dominance. October 2018 to December 2018. So here's October. Here is December. So pretty sideways there too. That's what I wanted to take a look at. So I guess it's not like overwhelmingly impressive that altcoins are kind of just keeping Bitcoin dominant sideways. But I think it's notable that we're, just below that 20. This is a monthly chart, by the way, but we're just below that 20 month. We're at this lower high Fibonacci, the lower end range of it. And it's just going to be a very interesting story to see. What makes it most interesting is, okay, in terms of charting, yeah, we're here, right? Meaning the end of 2018, bear market lows. Again, if you go look at this, in terms of the weekly RSI on Bitcoin, 2018, we're oversold. Like that's where we are technically on the charts, right? But when we go back to Bitcoin dominance, from a macro perspective, because there's way more ingredients here to these cycles, we're more likened to right here, the end of quantitative tightening. And what's notable about that is if I bring up the PMI chart, look at this. The end of QT marked basically towards the end of PMI contraction. This is where basically this little move, altcoins do well when we're getting expansion. This is exactly what I've been talking about. Here's expansion, right? Here is Bitcoin dominance falling during that expansion. Boom. That's because this expansion is what leads to altcoin strength. So if we're about to get expansion here, that is a very different move than what did happen in December 2018, because this kept falling for a while. So if we're about to get expansion, there's a strong possibility that Bitcoin dominance actually starts falling from a cycle perspective, and this others BTC chart, altcoins actually continue gaining strength, because that's what's happening right now. Altcoins are gaining strength. Look at how suppressed and oversold the others BTC chart is. I've been saying this for a while now. This, and not just this chart, but altcoins in general, like when we're thinking about expansion or an altcoin boom, we're waiting for expansion of the PMI. So this is why it's so critical for me to evaluate the PMI, that this green line, that's what that is. That's a business cycle. That's the business cycle indicator. If that continues to expand, the others BTC chart, I think will break out. And I'm not saying this week or even this month, but that's what I'm watching on the macro, and Bitcoin dominance, in my view, will continue to fall. So again, this is so important. And this is really like where my eyes are right now. This is called every bull market and bear market. This is called every altcoin season and Bitcoin dominance surge. It's this. It's a purchasing manager's index. You can't argue about that. So we'll continue to watch how that prints, but that's others BTC. I don't know why I can't minimize that. It's weird. Here's Ethereum. Just going over the comments. A lot of comments pouring in. I appreciate you guys cruising through. I love you. Love my haters. I will wait until silver gets to 500 an ounce and then buy Bitcoin at $1. At least you don't think Bitcoin's going to zero. I'm going to get into Ethereum analysis in a little. I'll bring up Cardano. I'll even bring up Dog, two of my top altcoins. You should watch my videos, buddy. I haven't shown the same charts for 2 years. In fact, even through all like the all over the place consolidation, I feel like I've done a pretty good job of giving so many different perspectives. But the macroeconomic data lately, man, you should pay attention to it. I really wish you guys would pay attention to it instead of just pointing fingers at people like me, content creators. I do need a mod. I do need mods. They don't make it very easy to make a mod. I really should get mods. I'm probably the one crypto YouTuber that doesn't do that. Love you too, man. Thanks for being here with us. Of course, dude. Appreciate you, Alex. I just know that so many of you guys, majority of you, I know, we're just in the same boat with kind of the journey. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to the cool guys. By the way, if you're in the chat, smash that like, but also let me know some charts. If you want to look at some charts, I'll take a little bit of time. Hopefully YouTube, please don't cut me off, dude. Jesus first, all else will fall into place. Thanks, Dan. Amen. Thank you, John. Jesus first. That's it. There's no other reason that we have to put a smile on our faces during these times. It literally is all that matters. Jesus is literally all that matters. Dan, how can I convince you to come trade live with me? I will give you a free scalping course anytime. Let's go, Alex. I don't trade, Alex. I will. That will not be good. Hey, Dan, DCA the move. DCA is the move. And by the way, that's a perfect segue to give a shout out. We just launched the accumulation planner in our system. I'm shilling my system, everybody. I'm building. And doing these videos will be very useful, just I think for marketing, as I can look back, Bitcoin risk at 20. You can set your risk appetite. And we have a free trial. So like I put my money where my mouth is. Yeah, I'm selling this. I want people to join our members. But if you don't like it, just cancel. You don't pay anything. But you go in here, now that we are in low risk areas, and you set what do you want to be? Conservative, moderate, aggressive. It'll change the multiplier of your base contribution. So say it's $100 a week, like that's where you're at. It will change the multiplier. So say I want to be conservative. You come in here to be a suggested investment 100 because you're conservative. But then it's going to allow you to run back tests on different times of Bitcoin cycles and show you what the value would have been if you would have accumulated in these areas at different risk appetites, like moderate, like aggressive. This is DCA, but 10 times better because it adjusts according to risk. It basically guides you to go heavier if you want when we're entering these areas of low risk scores. Look at that. Imagine being in a system like this when Bitcoin's at a 6 or a 4 risk and it's telling you to kind of multiply your usual DCA because it's that low. You zoom out, you see how it plays out, and that's what this system does. And you save your strategy so it'll alert you when it's time to do this accumulation, SMS, email. So I'm really excited about this. People are starting to set up their accumulation strategies, and it's just going to be fun to look back on this cycle, on these cycle lows, and see how this paired up against DCA. So if you're interested, if you're somebody that is accumulating and you want to kind of check this out, try it out. And if you like it, boom, you're a member. But if you don't like it, just cancel. And it'll be a free trial. I'm doing that. We're still offering the free trial. And we have a bunch of assets back here. On our page, just make sure your asset is back here. Sometimes we have people sign up and they're like, dude, my asset's not back here. We have probably like the volume of assets that we have in something like this that consists of risk models. It's some of the most in the industry. So just keep that in mind. If it's like a very low cap or a new coin, it's probably not going to be back there. But DCA is a good move for anybody that's playing the macro game for sure. Bitcoin going down to 34, 35,000. All right. So put your requests if you have any coins you want me to look at here. I'm kind of curious to see. I think I'll take a look at XRP in a moment, but let's start with Ethereum. I wish I could make people mods through this app that I use to stream, but I can't because that would make it so much easier. So I'm going to actually go to our risk models page because I do want to bring up Ethereum. Ethereum's at an 18. Bitcoin's at a 20. Ethereum's at an 18. I'm going to use it. It'll be valuable. If you're not even a member, just literally I'm in our system. It'll be valuable to go through that with you. So here's Ethereum on the weekly. Two things I think that I'm watching. I guess I'm curious of, like, how oversold is it, by the way? So also entering oversold areas that we've not seen since bear market lows. Tariff capitulation low. Crazy how many times we've been here. Will it keep going? Is this time different? I don't know. Maybe, dude. But we'll see. But two things on this chart strike me. Here's the PMI. Just look at that PMI along with Ethereum price. The PMI in altcoins is so nice to look at. Look at that. It's crazy. So let me remove that there so we can see. But two things. Number one is the post-quantitative tightening fractal of 2019 is very interesting to me, especially when we bring up the previous thing that happened, and that's tariff capitulation. So the fractal that I'm going to do right here over here on the screen to the left is this. Boom, that tariff capitulation to swing high, right? And then right here is QT ending, end of July 2019. And then the post-QT dip, which I've been talking a lot about. We're in a post-QT dip right now. And then I just want to kind of pull it over. Like there's a fractal that I want to use. So I want to bring it over to, obviously, this cycle's tariff capitulation. So interesting. I just was curious of what the RSI did. So let's bring tariff capitulation from 2018 into 2019 to the end of QT. Look at the fractal. It's crazy. And I'm not saying it has to be exact or do exactly the same thing, but we bounced out of a tariff capitulation 2018 right through a dip QT, post QT. Now we're in the dip, and it's like, how is this going to play out? And then what's crazy about it too is if you bring up the PMI chart, if you look at PMI, when it finally did start reversing, it was like right with the expansion on PMI. So here's one thing that will be very valuable to just watch. And even now, we just started February. We just printed for January the PMI going up. So we can start really dissecting even that macro indicator right now, not this week. Just because we printed higher doesn't mean this week we're gonna moon. But I think it will be telling to see what crypto does do in the next 30 days, 60 days, not even 60 days. So that fractal is very cool to me to watch. And then secondly, on Ethereum, I would say the the higher low that Ethereum is in right now, if you look at that same fractal from last cycle, I'm not exactly sure, but swing low to, that's not it. Go to Fibonacci. Swing low to swing high. Fibonacci, we fell below the 786 line, and then we bounced, right? We started bouncing, and then there's COVID. Fell below the 786 line again. But with where Ethereum is right now, we're falling. And from the swing low to swing high, we're falling below the 786 line. And I need to look at this on Bitcoin too, by the way. I meant to, and I forgot. But I'm going to look at this on the as a bear market indicator. We fell below the 786 line now, and we are quite oversold on Ethereum. If I go back to the risk model, I'm just curious, 18 on Ethereum. I mean, the bottom of 2022, we saw 22, 23 risk, 14, 13, 11. I think I saw 10 in there. This 10 to 20 area on Ethereum is no joke. Here's 2018 bear market low. It looks like it hit literally a 1 at the low. But getting out of a capitulation range where it would be 0 to 10 on risk, 10 to 20, if you just look back on Ethereum, 10 to 20 has basically historically been accumulation area for Ethereum. So that's absolutely not advice, but a very strong insight. 92% of the time after 1 year, Ethereum price has been higher when at a risk score of 18. That's telling, and it's just something I'm sharing with you. This is what our members are using in our system, these risk models, to try and plan without so much just blind speculation and emotion, but based on risk and based on what has happened before in these environments, pulling into play all these different data points, our advanced risk algorithm, emerging asset theory, game theory, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go to Cardano in just a moment, but I did want to go back to Bitcoin for a second and look at this, which is one thing I'm not going to ignore it, is the Fibonacci. The cycle Fibonacci is crazy. Let me bring out PMI. I'm going to bring it back up, the PMI, but just look at this. So this Fibonacci back here is in 2014. Yeah, I think let me see. Look at that. So 2011 run up to 2013, pull back to the Fibonacci. And I'm going to chart each of these cycles. And then I really just want to introduce to you something that makes this cycle so different and very interesting to see how this is going to play out. But there's that Fibonacci back here, right? We fell below the 786 bottoming out area. And then we take from that bottoming out area in the 2015 bear market low to this huge run up in 2017. And then we have our next Fibonacci. There it is again. Okay. Fibonacci falling below the 786 line. It was the bottoming out area. And then we take that bear market low to Bitcoin's all-time high last cycle, right before QT started. And then we have this Fibonacci. And what did Bitcoin do? It bottomed out just below the 786 line. So you can't ignore, okay, well, from this low back here, let's take a Fibonacci and chart it. And there it is. We're looking at 55 to 38,000. So below it would be like below 38,000 if Bitcoin literally repeated this setup. Here's just the thing, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy to see what happens here. Because right now, Bitcoin is bottoming out on the RSI like it has when it's already in the range, right? Or below the range. That's number one. Bitcoin is already bottoming out on the momentum oscillator. Like it's already bottoming out. We're nowhere near the bottom range of the Fibonacci. That's number one. But number two is, if I bring up PMI, just look at all of those bear market moves. So this 2013 into 14 move, this green line business cycle was contracting. This bear market back here, the business cycle was contracting into that bear market low. And then if we go even to the last bear market, what was happening? This was contracting into the bear market low. This is why I'm just so curious. Like, will Bitcoin not care about any of this? That now we're getting ready to expand and QT just ended, because remember, this cycle was the beginning of QT as well. But will Bitcoin not care? And if we get continued expansion and, you know, we're already at the bottoming out bear market lows on the RSI, oversold, right? We're in these areas and we're not even near that Fibonacci, but will Bitcoin not care? And will Bitcoin just absolutely just tank below the Fibonacci? You know, I always say it could all go to zero, be prepared. So I'm not going to sit here and say that's not going to happen. I will sit here and say, like, I haven't thought that's what's going to happen, especially when I'm evaluating the macro and everything that's going on with the business cycle. So let's go and look at some other charts. So others BTC, altcoins versus BTC on the monthly. Crazy to see some green candles as everything's falling along with Bitcoin. Bull market will start in June. Mark my words. I like it. I love just predictions. I like just seeing what people are thinking. A lot of people are. I got a message like yesterday or something on X about ADA. It's like I cover ADA a lot. I mean, I just talked about Cardano and accumulation video the other night. I still talk about Cardano in my videos. I'm about to go look at a Cardano chart now. Cardano is still one of my top altcoin holds, but it says no ADA content anymore. USDCX, CME futures, February 9th, etc. It's just, honestly, it's just not fun to do like sole videos on one crypto when my interest lies very heavily on the macro, especially with all of these different pieces of data that I'm tracking. I've just very much been enjoying tracking that story. I think that's what's meaningful. If you hold Bitcoin only, if you hold Cardano only, if you hold a bunch of coins, I think the thing that's important is everything I'm talking about is the macro. But along the way, I mean, I'm still talking about Cardano. I still talk about my altcoins that I hold. I have diversified a lot. I've taken the opportunity as Cardano has dipped, and I think I've mentioned this. Let's go look at a Cardano chart. When Cardano's doing this, like even now, and this is just altcoins in general, you could apply this to whatever altcoin you're holding. Like if you've been accumulating, whether you're buying or if you've been staking and receiving rewards, like if you're accumulating here or here or here, wherever you're accumulating on any chart, you can look at this like any chart, Bitcoin. There becomes a time of a cycle where if you do want to diversify, because we can utilize tax loss harvesting, guess what? It's not a bad idea to just diversify, because that's just going to help with tax loss harvesting. So, bro's just farming views. I wish, dude. My videos don't even do that well. Come on. I could think of probably many other ways that I could farm views, but I'm just sitting here tracking my crypto journey, dude. Cheer up, Ricardo, please. I know it don't feel good, but like, get offline. Like, step outside. You're wasting your life, dude. Doing that. Sitting in the comments, like, Ricardo. Come on, man. Just like October 10th was a perfect time to buy. Dude, I agree. Like, laughy face all you want, blame content creators, but like the entire crypto space has been bullish up until the last few weeks. Everybody's, even people that are posting bearish, they're holding. They're holding, they're probably buying. Like, everybody in crypto is wrong, okay? If you want to put it like that, everybody in crypto has just been wrong. Bitcoin's supposed to be $250,000 right now, according to everybody, according to all the institutions, according to all the headlines, according to all the content creators. It's not. It didn't happen. It's because of liquidity cycle and the business cycle, and it is what it is. And we can stop pointing fingers and being like, why are so many of you guys like more concerned of who is right and who is wrong, and you're just not concerned on like just trying to figure it out, trying to figure out how your approach is going to be to crypto, like. Because I assume that's why you're here watching a crypto video. You're trying to figure it out. But like, why is the highlight always who's right, who's wrong? It's crazy. I get so many tags of like other content creator that like started talking about the bear market a month ago. And like, I'm so irresponsibly wrong because I didn't. I'm sorry. Come on, man. I'm venting. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's go to Cardano. So ugly. It really is so ugly. Wow. You know what I do sometimes? Little trick. I'm trying to think if there's value to it or if it's just like paints a certain picture for me. But like I'll go to the replay the replay feature. Not just on Cardano, but like anything. But like you go to replay and just like boom. And it's just like, imagine right now I'm doing this live stream. And it's like, this chart looks terrible. This is the concept of like painting that picture. I paint a picture with Bitcoin, right? Like Bitcoin on the weekly, for instance. It's like, man, we've been here before. These oversold areas. I paint that picture. Here's 2015 oversold. We've been here before. It looked terrible. Here's 2018. We've been this oversold. It looked terrible. No, you can't see the chart very well. During this December 2018 capitulation and all that move, $3,800, I'm doing a live stream. I've been here before, right? December 2018, I was doing a live stream like this. Like, I've been here before. But besides that, if you go to a Cardano chart, it's like, I like doing that replay thing because it's like, even here in 2023, this looks like really bad. This does not look good. And then I'm like, all right, I do the replay again. I'm just like, if you think about back here, do you remember COVID? Imagine this. Doing a Cardano video back here. It's game over. We thought we were out of the woods. We're at 2.5 cents. We're going to zero. It just paints a picture for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's more to the story than how this looks, type of thing. And I'm not doing that to say that it's going to repeat the same, but I'm just saying like there always is that macro perspective. But all these charts look very, very rough. You go to any altcoin chart, it's crazy, man. I mean, look at Litecoin. It's just like literally at June 2022 price, literally at August 2020 price, November 2019 price. I will say, I definitely have to bring this up because I've been talking so much about PMI, and it will be very interesting to see what happens in the coming weeks, in the next month with PMI. know, I think it's important to note that it's not like every single PMI print correlates with an exact monthly candle of crypto, right? There's lag effect that absolutely does happen. If I go to, like, if I really zoom out and I go to something like Ethereum, and I have to change it to a monthly. So we go to a monthly. And then we change this to chart or columns. So this really helps get a little bit of insight. So these candles in the background is PMI. It's just charted different. Like we get a lower print, it's red, a higher print, it's green. You can see there's our green print that just happened. But just look at how it's not like if PMI, hits green. This is a picture I really want to paint. I've been meaning to do a video on this because I talk so much about PMI. PMI prints green. That means that month for crypto is going to be green. It's not been like that, okay? And so in the same sense, the flip side, right? Here's a red PMI print, but also a green Ethereum candle. So it's not so perfect, but it's on the macro, the story that is being told. So that is, though, why I'm very curious to see how the next couple of months turn out for not only just the PMI, but for crypto. So it wouldn't surprise me that the bull market starts sooner than later. Big dump, and we're hitting some big resistance levels. To me, it seems closer than it's further away, but hey, could be wrong, of course. Thanks, McLean. I appreciate that. I agree. It's like, it does seem like it could be further away or closer than further away, but could be wrong about it. But I did want to show that correlation on the PMI because it's not, because I'm pretty sure, because I've been talking about PMI so much in the business cycle, we need real confirmation of a business cycle expansion. We've not had it yet. One print is not enough. So, and I've talked about this. If you read through the PMI report, it wasn't the best in terms of manufacturing sentiment. It was kind of like politically charged, but there was insight that, the orders went up and like they're kind of just trying to front run increased pricing because of tariffs. If that's the case, this could be kind of like a short-term blip on the radar and we're actually contracting again or sideways again. So it's just something I really would like to see a couple more months of like printing, but it's the macro story that's important when it comes to that PMI. In my opinion, it's definitely not like, hey, PMI turned up, a really nice print, well above 50, which is crazy and good, but that's not the confirmation right there. So I wanted to bring that up. I need to do a full video on that probably, because absolutely most people are not going to see that an hour and 13 minutes into a live stream. ISM might be good for manufacturing stocks, not necessarily crypto, into the cryptoverse. Ben might share that sentiment. I don't think that's Ben though. I think if that was Ben, there would be a check mark on his name. But dude, I would love to do a video with Ben because I know he has such a different thought than me on that stuff. But either way, Ben or not, ISM might be good for manufacturing stocks, not necessarily crypto. I guess from a standpoint, part of my thesis is, ISM is good for crypto. Reason being, if we're seeing economic activity expand and it's good, and we're seeing productivity boom and that's happening, I think it's good for crypto. But like, that's not even really the core of my thesis about the PMI. The core of my thesis about PMI is, if I go to a different chart, it's just the data, right? It's just what the data says. And that is, When it's falling, we're falling into a bear market, and when it's expanding, we're going into a bull market. And this is a very unemotional thought and presentation. And that's why it's meaningful to me. So yeah, I think it's good for, I do think it's good for obviously manufacturing stocks, but I think it's good for crypto too, because if we're in economic boom, which I think 2026 will deliver, I know many people are doubtful, that's good for crypto, but it's the correlation that I think is meaningful to me. And I think the macro concept is very meaningful to crypto. Yes, literally everybody for the last month has been telling me, good job, dude. Nobody was telling me this was coming at the top. I'll tell you that much. Appreciate you pushing through the hate, Dan. Don't apologize for venting. It can't be easy to stream or post on YouTube. Proud of you, man. Keep it up. Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate it. But I do need to apologize for venting, because I don't like being like that. Like, I don't want to complain about it. It's more of like, when I get, I bring up hate, like, I don't want to call it hate comments either, but like, I bring up negative comments on here. And it's more of like the frustration of like, I wish I could just like press the button and the person was on the live stream with me. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't an anonymous person. And like, we can just talk. I think that's what like really frustrates me the most. It's not like receiving negativity or people calling me, they put the clown face like a lot, or the laughy emoji. It's the fact that I can't see them, And it's like, I want to talk to them, and I want to hear, what's your thesis then? Why am I so wrong? Can we average out Ben and Dan, and that would be our median? And actually, I think like I've seen some posts lately from Ben. I've been getting tagged with Ben a lot lately, but like, I see some of his posts lately that he's pushing back on his haters. And I'm so tired of the crypto space, dude. Ben and I have completely different views. And it seems like, from what I'm seeing, he's getting a ton of hate from, I guess, what, bullish people? In a similar sense that I get from bearish. I'm so tired of that game, dude. I really am. It is me. I don't believe it. Because I think I've commented on somebody's live stream before, and it showed up with my check mark. If it is you, Ben, love you, dude. And keep plugging away with your analysis. I enjoy it, and ignore the haters. I know it's impossible, but try. I wish I could. Please make it stop dropping. I know, dude. Even as I'm actually doing a live stream, it just keeps falling. Can we talk about no one is here in the crypto space anymore? It feels like that every single time. Their therapy session. Let him join. Dude, Ben, call him. I don't know. Is that really Ben, dude? I don't even know how I would get him to join. I use this Ecamm Live software. I don't even know if I could send him a link. That's hilarious, dude. Either way. Either way, I appreciate Ben, and I hope if there's people hating on him that they will stop that. It's good to challenge each other. It's good to have different views. I think at the end of the day, guys, it's just being prepared for all scenarios. So I should check my, if that's Ben, he can message me on X. I just don't think I genuinely don't think it's Ben. It's so easy just to have a, and if it is Ben and he really was trying to get on, then we'll have to definitely do a video together one day soon, because that would be sick. It really would be sick. And it would be better than hopping on an hour, 20-minute into a stream. So this is Bitcoin on the monthly. I was doing some Cardano analysis, looking absolutely pathetic and terrible. I 100% am in the boat with y'all. Sui. I actually do want to say this though. Amidst everything that's been going on, like here's ADA BTC on the monthly. If we go to the weekly, even in the current week, it's like, I don't want to say it because I know the moment I say this, it's like game over for this pair. But it's whole. I mean, we're at the same ADA BTC as in December, at the end of December. And amidst the capitulation and mess that we're in right now, I mean, altcoins, here's ADA BTC. They've been holding up like pretty decently. I mean, probably the best version of the chart is this one. Total 3 BTC. Total 3 versus BTC, one of them. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens with altcoins. I think probably the most telling data that I've gone over in this video is, and not telling like it's predictive of anything, but the fact that Bitcoin on the monthly is oversold, or on the weekly is oversold at this area, it's crazy. The question will be, will things repeat? Because if you go back 2015, same area, it's always marked the bottoming out formation. Well, I don't know. Will it be different this time? Man, that's crazy. It's going to be crazy to watch. And if we get capitulation, I just want to let everybody know right now, like, if we fall below the Fibonacci, like a typical bear market, if we fall in and below the Fibonacci at these levels, I will come on videos and I will be like, I absolutely, because people always want to say I've been wrong about everything. Like, I push back on that because I don't think I have. Because in my videos, I talk so much about downside. If you watch my analysis, like, I try so hard to talk about the downside scenarios. I think as a macro value investor, I've not been proven wrong about anything. But I will say this. If we fall into the Fibonacci and below, like a typical bear market will, right? I will absolutely come on a video and be like, I was wrong. I did not think this was happening, especially at this moment. So I will do that. Okay. And maybe that will make some people happy for me to do that. So anyway, guys. Oh, dude, it is Ben. He did message me. He messaged me on X. It is me. That's a bummer. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm in this software. I don't know how to invite him on. Like, I don't even know if he's in here anymore, but that would have been awesome. there's an interview setting in here. I have no idea what I'm doing. Sorry, everybody. All right, well, I'm going to message him back that we should set up a video because it would be just cool. I could actually maybe see. I mean, honestly, I'm messaging him. Because I have this link that might work. Come on, Benjamin. I'll give him like, yeah, okay, let me see. I sent him this link. I have no idea if this is going to like work or screw up this video. So I apologize in advance. But I found this interview link in Ecamm. Ecamm Live is the software that I use. So please forgive me. Ben, you can forgive me too. Okay, come on. All right, dude. Hold on, I have to put on my headphones. Ben, you there? Hold on a second. This is such a mess, everybody. Ben, can you hear me? Give me a thumb up if you can hear me. Ah, shoot, he can hear me, but I can't hear him. Hold on. This is messed up, dude. He's in the waiting room. He's in the green room, everybody. Dude, can you hear me, Ben?
Yeah.
Dude, what's up, man?
I'm trying to like switch the camera to be it's like not even my main camera.
I mean, it looks fine.
I have to look over here.
The question will be if you can share. Dude, I use this thing called Ecamm Live, and I do not do like videos and collaborations a lot, so I have no idea what I'm doing. But do you have like an option to share your screen or anything?
Let me see. Share screen. Yeah.
Can you? Oh yeah. So then I could do. Oh, see. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, it has both of them.
Okay. I'm just not there, but that's fine. Dude, so
Dude,
I can't believe that was you in the I thought it was completely a scammer, like just with your profile. You know how people do that?
Yeah. Dude, I've been joining all sorts of streams and like just because I want to see what everyone else is saying and try to get an idea of what's going on, but it's a tough market right now for sure.
It is, dude. You've taken over into the cryptoverse, has taken over crypto capital venture, literally. Like I don't even know how to get myself back on the screen. What, dude? What are your thoughts? I'm gonna try and figure out how to get my face on here, but
Yeah, I don't know where you went.
I know I'm trying.
Maybe if I stop sharing, you'll come back.
Well, tell me. Oh yeah, that's true. You can stop sharing too. Up
All right, now it's me.
here.
You can see all
Add
the
left.
drinks I'm drinking over here.
I warned everybody, including you, that this was going to happen. So, look, I
Yeah.
literally don't even know what I'm doing. There's me on the screen.
There you go. There you're back. Yeah, I see you now. Um, Yeah, no, I mean it's tough market. I think because like there's some good data coming in, but there's also bad data coming in, and crypto just keeps on dropping. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the hard part that I have with like sort of the macro stuff is like there is some good data, but there's also like some bad data, right? Like
Yeah.
we just got job
Oh,
openings
there
today.
we go.
Uh and
Staying here.
they yeah, I mean we got annihilated.
That did not look
Um
good. Yeah, I know.
I'm guessing my guess is we'll have macro headwinds for going into the summer, and then maybe things will start to look better. But yeah, it's a tough market for sure.
I think one of the questions I do, because as I was doing this analysis like right now, I I'm kind of actually becoming very curious of this, which is, and I'm really curious of your thoughts. Um, and maybe you've talked about it before, but like, and I'm not going to mess around with the screens anymore, so we'll just use my screen. But
That's
like
fine.
the fact, what are your thoughts about like look at Bitcoin on the weekly, right? Oversold comparative to previous bear market lows, like that marked the bottom. What do you think about that? Like, is this going to be a historic move? Like, if we keep like number one, do you think we'll keep trending down for months? And if so, like, do you think this RSI is going to like make historic lows, like we saw with gold BTC lately?
Probably. I mean, I think the hard part is the RSI by itself is not a great indicator because like if you pull up the RSI for I mean Bitcoin dominance right now is obviously fading a little bit, kind of like it did in 2019, but if you pull it like looking at Bitcoin dominance weekly RSI, it was putting in lower highs since 2023, but Bitcoin dominance still went up. So there could be scenarios where the weekly RSI could bottom out and could always put in higher lows, but it could still correspond to a lower price for Bitcoin, you know, and then you could get like divergences there. So I think the RSI is it's good if you're going to use it with like confluence with a lot of other indicators, but I think it's bad if you're gonna use it, like, just by
Yeah,
itself
agreed.
because even in I mean, look at 2022, right? Like, for Bitcoin, the low wasn't even when the RSI bottomed, right? It was a higher low by the weekly RSI where Bitcoin actually bottomed in 2022. So, I think
Right
what you
here.
like to look for yeah, yeah, you see, but, like, the low was in the summer,
Yeah,
on the weekly RSI. So I think you like to look for like divergences, right, between them. That's what I look for, right? Like divergences between the RSI and the price or social interest. That's why altcoins are getting annihilated, is because like literally there's no one here. I track all the social interest and it's really low. I mean, it's lower now than it has been in like 6 years, you know.
yeah.
Uh,
What do you make of
that's
that? Like, is that like a game over indicator? Like, because it is the lowest, but it feels like it's not bouncing. Like sentiment usually bounces. It's not bouncing. Like, you think it's going to bounce? You think we're going to get better?
I think there'll be bounces, but I think it's going lower. Unfortunately. I mean, I mean, so far the 4-year cycle seems to be playing out, right? I mean, Bitcoin topped when it always does. It's going down when it always does. Um, so I think the base case has got to be that we get a counter trend rally at some point, and then it leads to a lower high that then leads into a lower low, and I think the low could be as late as October potentially. I mean, I'll start looking before then this summer, but there's a chance the low.
October?
Yeah.
Say it ain't true.
Well, I mean, look at
Say
the
it ain't
last 2 bear
so.
markets. Look at the last 2 bear markets. They were, November to November, so November 2021 to November 2022, and the one before that was December 2017 to December 2018. So maybe this is just October 2025 to October 2026. Also, the other thing that's kind of interesting, which is one of the reasons why I've been pretty bearish too, is last cycle, it took MicroStrategy 98 weeks to bottom, and 98 weeks for MicroStrategy this cycle would be October of 2026.
Oh
So
man.
I think a lot of signs point towards October. But I think there could be some really good deals this summer. Like there could be some things that bottom this summer, and then some other things that bottom in October.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I'm so happy to have you like on this channel because I think it's a really nice contrast. And for me, like what I've been talking a lot about is like the macroeconomic landscape, the PMI, which I know you don't fully agree with. And I'm gonna really start finding it interesting to see how this plays out now because your
Yeah.
kind of scheduled analysis, like, you know, every cycle at this time, I get it, and it's looking pretty on point, especially like on days like today and where we are in the cycle. But I'm so curious now, and I've definitely put it out there that I think this, but um, it's going to be interesting to see if it does play out how you're saying, and that is what it is, right? Time frame wise, like according to the schedule that you're following, it would be like maybe end of summer, fall, right? Potentially for a
Right.
bottom.
Right. Correct.
And
Yeah.
I would just be absolutely wrong, like in what I've been saying if that happens. But I find it interesting. Like I don't want
So
that to happen, but I do want to. So with that being said, I wanted to bring up like, cause this is what I can't like stop seeing this and thinking about it. It's like,
yeah, I'd
we're
like to ask
talking
you.
about this.
I want to ask you something about this chart.
Yeah.
So so first of all, it did spike in January, but it also spiked January of last year too, right? Like if you look at the spike last year, it was also in January, and then it just
Yeah.
came back down. So
Yeah.
first of all, like we don't know for sure if it's actually going to expand, right? There's a lot of assumptions
I
that
agree.
it's going to expand, right?
Yeah.
The other thing too is when it does start to expand, it can take like a couple of years before it actually reaches the highs. So I could see a world where your view is correct that like Bitcoin tops when the ISM tops. But the problem that I have is that like what if that's not until say 2028 or 2029, right? You could still have a bear market early on, and also too, even last cycle, if you look at 2019,
Yeah.
last cycle, the ISM was going down and Bitcoin was going up. So it's not always the best indicator by itself to
Oh, you're
use
talking
because
about like right here, right?
yeah, like the ISM
Yeah.
was going down while Bitcoin
Yeah.
was going up. And so I think that it's just hard to use that single indicator as like as a macro reason to be bullish. Um because there's also a lot of first of all, it's a soft indicator. It's not like hard, it's more like surveys, I believe. And
Yeah. Like
surveys,
400.
yeah, they're not as useful. Like because people's feelings about things are often different than like reality. Um, and we've seen that the last few years. Like surveys have been pretty bad, but crypto did pretty well. So I mean, I know your view is that we've been in a bear market for a while. If you look at Bitcoin against gold, I would agree with you that Bitcoin has been in a bear market since December 2024. But I think that Bitcoin was in a bull market for 3 years. And I just think that, you know, like not everything rallied with it, but it's really similar to this whole 2019 move, right? Like it's basically it's a larger version of the 2019 move where Bitcoin went up, Bitcoin dominance went up, then Bitcoin topped before QT topped. So basically the 2026 bear market is just the same downturn after the 2019 top, right? Which I think you've been saying. I just think the downturn could last longer, I think, than you do.
I think that's what it is too. Like I think that is the big thing. I think we think it'll last in different time frames, but on the ISM though, on this survey data, like it's it's kind of more just like a sentiment survey, which is why this
Right,
printed is because of really what the data was saying and what is actually happening in the economic landscape. Because if you actually read the report, which I'm sure you scoured it, like it was brutal. It was so terribly negative. Like all the manufacturers are just negative sentiment. So if it was
right,
just sentiment based, like this thing would be capitulating. But even ironically, with the terrible sentiment, it ticked up because there are these signs of like economic recovery. But what one thing though
right,
I do want to say is I think we need a couple more prints like to really confirm, because if they are front running like all the tariff fear that they do have, that's why we got this. And then all of that like good activity is just going to come right back down. So I do want to see that. Because if
I
that
hope
ticks down, that's not going to be good.
I mean, I hope you're right. Like, I hope the ISM is expanding. Like, I mean, first of all, recessions are really bad for everyone. Like, no one, they're awful.
Yeah.
Um, there are good things that happen with them, like like bad companies go to zero, like zombie companies go to zero, which allows people to focus on companies that have value. So that's one of the things that the good things. But the bad thing is that a lot of people lose their job, and it's a very, a very, very bad time. I think like I've been bullish generally on the ISM, but that's why I was buying more so like manufacturing stocks, and focusing more on like the energy sector rather than crypto. So I think like imagine this. Imagine how easy it would be to buy Bitcoin at the end of this year if the ISM goes up all year and Bitcoin goes down all year. Right? Because
Oof.
by that point you would have like a massive divergence, right? Like you would see like the economy's doing great, but then if the economy is doing so great, like there's a famous quote, right? Like the stock market and the stock market is not the economy. Um, so
But do you think that
I
would
could,
happen? Do you think do you think that would happen? Like the PMI actually does just start going up and Bitcoin doesn't?
I mean, that's what happened in 2014, a bear market. The ISM went up for 2014, and Bitcoin went down for all of 2014. So, there are certainly times where the ISM looks good. In fact, did you know that the ISM on January 2014 was only zero point 0.1 difference than the January print of 2026? And then by the end of the year, the ISM back in 2014 had increased from like 52 to 55, but Bitcoin was like 50% lower. So, like, there's times where you get these like things that don't make sense, right? Like, I mean, and it's frustrating because like you want to be like irrational. You want to like look at the market and be like, all right, like if this is doing well, then that means this has to do well. But there's times the markets don't have to make sense. Like you could have a manufacturing sector that's doing well, but you could have a higher risk sector like crypto doing awful. Manufacturing got annihilated the last 3 years. I mean, absolutely annihilated. Now it's starting to do well. Crypto did pretty well the last 3 years, or at least some cryptos, and now that's starting to. So it's just kind of all about um, rotations between asset classes. I
Yeah.
mean, I think our views, even though it's not necessarily expressed like this on Twitter, I don't really think our views are that different. I just think the main difference between my view and your view is that like I think it's also 2019 style downturn. I just believe that yeah, it'll take much longer to really weed out all the bad stuff in the space. And I think honestly, I think by having 2025 be kind of a bad year and also 2026, I think it'll be a good way to start new in 2027. That's what I'm hoping. Like I want to be optimistic about the future of crypto, but for me to be optimistic about the future of crypto, I need to see a lot of meme coins just go to zero and no one ever cares about them anymore.
I'm sure it will happen.
I mean,
So there's two things I want to ask. Like now that I have you on here, like I just want to ask you about it.
sure.
Cause here's the thing. Like I really like, and I was just talking about in the live stream, like, you know how hate comments are, right? It's always like some anonymous person saying you're wrong or something.
Right.
My thing is like, whether it's a hate comment or just an analysis that I don't agree with, I love the opportunity to be like, have a conversation about it. So you mentioned 2014, right?
Yeah.
Like and I just think it's because maybe we just perceive things differently, which is again interesting to me. But when I look at this chart, all I see is correlation. Like this bull market 13 to 14 for Bitcoin. Like I see this expansion of higher highs, higher lows on the PMI, right? And then it's even like, even the PMI falling for a brief moment, you have capitulation in Bitcoin, and then continuation of Bitcoin and the PMI, and then you have capitulation and the fall of PMI. Like the correlation, I see so much correlation there.
Look at
And
but
obviously
look at
it's
the
not like week to week, but like, you know what I mean?
right. But look at the end of 2014. You see how Bitcoin bottomed right when the ISM started going down right when Bitcoin bottomed. You see that like at the end of 2014?
Right here.
The very end of the year. No, the very end of the year. Go
Okay.
further. See there, the ISM started dropping when
Yeah.
Bitcoin bottomed.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
like, imagine in 2015 if you were using the ISM to say why Bitcoin had to go down. Because if the ISM was dropping, therefore, oh, well, does that mean Bitcoin has to drop? But in reality,
You're
Bitcoin
talking right
bottomed.
here. Yeah.
Right, Bitcoin bottomed in January and went up for the rest of the year while the ISM went down.
Yeah.
So, like, that's like, I'm not saying there's no correlation at all. Like, I mean, certainly if you pull up a macro chart, the PMI, the ISM tends to top on a macro scale when Bitcoin does. The problem is we don't know when that next top is going to be. I mean, it could be 2028, could be 2029. What if it's not until the 2030s? I mean, I hope it's not till that long. I just don't think it's going to happen this year. And that's why I think this year is going to be more of a resetting year. Um, I think it would be very hard not to be bullish on crypto in 2027, especially if we see the ISM expand this year.
Yeah.
I think that would be a very easy bull case. I think just the hard part is getting through this year without losing all the money. Like, that's the hard part of just trying not to buy all the dips, trying to be patient, trying to realize that, hey, this is a process. It's going to take a while. And by the way, the reason why I think Bitcoin dominance is actually going down, and I think one of the reasons is because uh, the altcoin market already got annihilated in the bull market, you know? So that we've seen that happen in many times. And even in 2019, alt started to go up against Bitcoin when the bear market started. So that's kind of what's happening now as well.
Yeah.
Um, Better times are ahead, but yeah, I think we're gonna have we'll be stuck in traffic on Struggle Street for a little while.
Struggle Street.
Struggle Street, yeah.
All right. Last question in regards to like the analysis or the charts is, kind of too soon. I think this move right here is kind of a cool thing to compare to, like in terms
Mhm.
of just like how, like, I don't like, you don't have to give me an answer for this, but like, would you say in terms of like 2022, for instance, are we like more here, right? Or we like, you think we're more here, maybe a little bit of a pop and then a lower low? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I feel like we're kinda we're it feels like we're about halfway through the bear market to me. Um, like, we already had the first leg, so a lot of times bear markets, uh, a lot of times they'll have, like, 3 main legs down. Even the 2022, there's sort of like the initial leg down that happened in, like, late 2021, early 2020. That's, like, sort of the first leg down, where not a lot of people believe in the bear market. And then the next leg down is where we are right now, right? So, like, that 2022 leg down, that's where I think we are right now. And then eventually this leg will bottom, and then it'll probably hold for a while. Like, I could see it hold. I could see whenever the low is in, I could see it holding for months. Like, it could hold for 3 to 6 months. Um, but then I think there'll be one final leg down later this year, and it might not be that much. Like, the final low might not be that much different than the low that we set, in the coming weeks or months. Like, it could only be slightly lower, but yeah, I think we're kind of in the middle of the bear market where, like it seems like 50% of people believe it, maybe a little bit more, maybe like 60% of people believe now that we're in a bear market. And I would say, like, once we get to the point where I'm not receiving as much hate on Twitter for saying it, like, once we get to that point, like, if I put out a bear tweet, um and I don't get a lot of pushback, that might actually start to make me nervous
Do
because
you
it's almost like the pushback makes me more confident that it's a bear market.
do you really you get a lot?
Oh yeah, I mean, all the time, like, all the time I get people saying, like, but I mean, a lot of the times it's and I first of all, like, I get it because I've been in that position before, like, I've been the person in prior cycles holding altcoins and getting mad at the guys saying it was a bear market. Like, so I know where they're coming from, but I've also learned that, you know, like, no one controls the market and we're all just doing the best we can, and like, if I thought for a second that this was a really great time to get into crypto and that we were about to explode to the upside, it would definitely be in my interest to promote that, right? To tweet it. Because, like, if Bitcoin were to rally to 200K later this year and I'm sitting here like bear posting, well, that would be really bad, because then a lot of people would feel like they missed the boat. So it's not like I want this to happen. Like, it would be better for my brand, my channel, for crypto to just go to the moon.
Yeah, of course.
It's more right. Like, I mean, it'd be better for all of us, right? But I just feel like it's more of a reflection of what is happening because the market needs to be cleansed, and I think this is really the first cycle where we're getting that in a really long time. We sort of got it in 2019, and kind of going into 2020, and then we had the pandemic and everything changed, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
and something like that might happen this cycle. When I would turn bullish on crypto is so if you look at the 2019 cycle, right, crypto really started to get bullish after the S&P 500 started to drop. So that was kind of the
Mm.
hard part we find ourselves in is like until stocks really start to drop and the Fed, starts to pivot more, it's hard to be bullish on crypto because it's just so much further up the risk curve than basically everything else.
Yeah. So, but that's actually, so this was the second main question I wanted to ask you, that I have trouble. And I think also, like, I talk about downside a lot. I know that's hard to believe if it's like for a lot of people out there don't like watch my full videos, but I do. Like, that's so big
Right.
for me because I need to anticipate it for my risk appetite. Like, I don't have a crazy huge risk appetite. So I'm always trying to like figure out like, but the thing I struggle with, I think on the really zoomed out scale is I don't want to be too bearish because I am such a, like, I'm more of a value investor in this space, like across cycles. But
Right.
I look at, cause you brought up Fed monetary policy and Fed pivot and stuff, but like this whole QT, the first QT ever back here, like in that bear cycle, right? And then quantitative tightening ended in July of 2019. I talk about this a lot. I'm just curious of what you think here. Post QT, we dipped. And this is kind of where I think we are now. Like, we had record breaking QT that just ended December. I've been saying be ready for a post QT dip. It happened in 2019. So
Right.
I think like we're more here, right? That's like what that's where I've been. And I've been saying we're in that type of dip now. What would you say in relation to that? Because it's not so much like right here, like a bear market move, I guess, but it's more like just that weird area in 2019, right before COVID.
Yeah.
Do you see any similarities there?
I mean, that's basically been my thesis for like 3 years, is that's what we're following. I mean, let me just share my screen really quick so you can see what I know it might mess up
It's
your
okay.
stream
Let
for a
it go.
second.
Take it over.
Yeah. Can you see
Hold on.
this my can
I
you
have
just shift
to,
it from yours to mine without and then keep us both up there?
um, you don't use Ecamm, right? I'm sure you don't use this for,
No. I use StreamYard.
I have to assign here. I'm just going to give it to you, dude. Hold on.
Basically, this is the chart you're looking at.
Yeah.
So this is comparing the current downturn to the 2019 downturn, right? So yeah, I mean, look, Bitcoin topped on apathy, not euphoria. If you look at Bitcoin color coded by social interest, it looks like 2019. So I've said for a long time, this is like the 2019 style drop where Bitcoin topped on apathy rather than euphoria, and there was no rotation into altcoins back then. So it's interesting because it ends up being the same as the other midterm year bear markets. It just happens to align at the right time that the downturn, QT literally ended the last month of 2025. And that's when the downturn happened last time, is after, really kind of right before, then through the end of QT. The one thing I would say though, and this is kind of the reason why I think we think about it a little bit differently. Um, I think you're sort of looking at the downturn here in 2019 and saying, all right,
Oh, sorry.
well,
Hold on.
oh yeah, you're fine. You're basically saying like, okay, this downturn lasted, if you exclude the pandemic, which I think is reasonable. It lasted about 25 weeks,
Mhm.
right? Um, if you look at today, we're only 18 weeks in. So you could argue we have a couple more months, even by that logic, right? And that's excluding the pandemic. If you include I'm not saying we should include the pandemic, but what I'm saying is that like there is a non-negligible chance that recession fears do increase later. I mean, job openings are low, hires are low, quits are low. The only thing that's not high or not looking bad, layoffs are still relatively low, so that's a good thing. But even then, it took, 37 weeks. If it takes 37 weeks, that basically puts us out into the summer of 2026. Um, and then the other thing that this is like the most bearish case, and
Oh no.
I don't even think I've shared this view on my own channel. But one way to look at it too is to say, all right, well, the bull market lasted for 28 weeks, and then if you exclude the pandemic, it basically lasted around the same amount of time, right? About 28 weeks. So I'm like, okay, well, this thing lasted for years, right? So the bear case is what happens if the downturn lasts longer than anyone's expecting. That's not my base case, right? Like my base case is that we bottom this year. So I'm sort of looking at it and saying, all right, like if the move up can take longer than this one, then the move down can take longer than that. And so I'm kind of trying to come to a compromise between what is realistic. I don't want to get too greedy and wait too long, but I think it makes sense to assume that crypto will likely have this downturn. It'll probably get some rallies at some point, but that eventually it's going to find a low, and then it'll start trending back up. I just think we're a ways off from the more durable low, because um I think there are a lot of people, and I can stop sharing now. We can go back to how you can bring yourself back up. I think there are a lot of people that are now more aware that it's a bear market, and I think that could lead to some negative uh, price action in a few months. Like, so whenever there is a bounce, I think a lot of people that kind of didn't get the bear market memo a few months ago will then get it, and then they'll take that opportunity to sell, which will cause probably more downside pressure. But I do agree. I mean, I think the 2019 comparison is the most valid comparison, because we topped on apathy, not euphoria. So that I agree with you. That is the most valid comparison. I just think where I disagree is I think it's going to take at least to the summer, to get through the downside.
Yeah. Do you and by the way, I'm like all over the place with my let me see. I think I figured it out. Do you talk about targets, price targets, or not? Not too much. Like, do you have areas that you're like really watching? Do you think like 30s for Bitcoin? Like, what do you think in relation to price targets?
It's hard to know, because like I've done price predictions before, and the hard part about them is, like, unless you nail it perfectly, everyone's going to hate you. Like if I say that it's going to go to X price and it bottoms $100 higher, people are going to be mad. Or if I say it's going to go there and then it goes $1,000 lower, $10,000 lower, people are going to be upset. So what I try to do is I try to just figure out like which way the wind is blowing, and say, all right, like I don't know where the low exactly is going to be, but my guess is that I will be a buyer in October, regardless of where that price is, right? So like if we're just simply sitting at the 200-week moving average in October, then I'd probably be a buyer. If we go to the 200-week moving average now, bounce probably would lead to a lower low, right? Um, and by the way, I mean, last cycle we went well below the 200-week moving average. So I think what I would say is it's not about exactly where the price is. It's more so just about trying to get out of the way of the bear market and let it do its thing. And then later this year, once the dust has settled, we come back in and find those opportunities. But I couldn't tell you if it's going to be 60K, 50K, 30K, 20K. I mean, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea. And thing is like, one of the times I learned my lesson on that was actually in the pandemic. And I know you were in crypto back then. I think I like went to sleep and Bitcoin was like $8,000, and then I woke up and it was like less than $4,000, and I legitimately thought something was wrong
Yeah.
with trading. I'm like, there's no way this is like correct.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like, no one truly knows where the bottom is. I just think that I want to be out of the way for the bear market, and then I'll look at it this summer, later this year, and try to find some good entries.
Yeah. Okay. Good insight, especially with this. I think this is what you were talking about with the post QT 2019 dip lasted like 120 some days, right? And right now we're like halfway there. So
I
that's some
will give you
specifics. That's definitely valuable to consider that. What's
If you
that?
pull up the Bitcoin chart against gold, like Bitcoin USD divided by gold, I think
Yeah.
that chart provides a pretty obvious target. I think Bitcoin has maybe gone through its initial capitalization phase against gold, kind of like the altcoin market did against Bitcoin. And you could argue that what if Bitcoin's gold valuation is an oscillator? I mean, that's the bull case, right?
Mm.
Because it topped the same top spot it topped in 2021. Maybe it'll bottom at the same spot it bottomed at in 2022, which if it does, that still means that Bitcoin's going to drop another 30 to 40% against gold for the rest of the year. So I still think it makes more sense to be bullish on gold for this year than Bitcoin. But next year, Bitcoin will probably be more bullish than gold.
So you think okay, so you're talking about BTC Gold maybe hitting this level from
Right.
2022. Yeah.
Right. Look
Wow.
at total three. Look at total three divided by gold. They just hit it. Like altcoins already hit that level. If you look at total three divided by gold, they're already
Look at
trading.
level now.
They already went below their late 2022 lows. So, and if Bitcoin goes to those same levels, where does that leave altcoins? Right, like they're going to be way lower. Um,
So
would be my
yeah,
guess.
so by the way, do you think that like if this continued dip, say it keeps going weeks, months even, right? Do you think if we go to like total 3 Bitcoin, like this will just what do you think's going to happen to this chart?
I mean, I think it could. My guess is just going to kind of like slowly move around. Like it's not going to have an outright
Like down
capitulation,
and
but it's
up, down and up.
yeah. And in the short term, as long as Bitcoin keeps going down like this, where it's a slow bleed, it's probably bearish for Bitcoin dominance in the short term. But eventually, when we get to the next bull market, Bitcoin dominance will likely go back up to to 66%. It's just going to take a little while to get there. And I mean, look, I really do hope that we get a bounce in crypto soon, just so that it just improves sense. Because if we don't, like, I mean, especially if you're in my camp of like we're just in a bear market. Usually in bear markets, you get some rallies, and then if we could get a rally that could last us 2 or 3 months, and it might help minimize the downside. But it's difficult, even being in the bear camp, it's difficult watching it just go down every single day. Because I want, I want the asset class, to survive. I want it to. I don't want people to give up. I don't want people to leave. I want them to see the future of it. But for
Yeah.
now, I mean, I have to get out of the way and let it do its thing.
Yeah, it's been crazy. With that being said, would you say your approach to, because I think it's valuable to like know approaches, your approach is you're just like, whether you think it's like bear market for till October or whatever, your approach is like you're hunkering down. It's not like you're like sitting on the sidelines. You're just waiting to accumulate more than you're just like waiting to get back in. Would you say that's more of your approach?
Well, I sold off. Like I sold off a lot of the Bitcoin, like a lot of the crypto I had, like in Q4. I still do own some. I usually keep around like 20 to 30% of my stack in bear market. Even like when I'm so convinced it's a bear market, I still keep it just because it's
Okay,
kind
so
of
you
like,
still
all right,
hold some crypto.
right, because like I always think like, but it's like, I own maybe like 15%, 20% of what I held back in last year, right? Like I still own some, maybe about 20, 25%. I still own some just in case. But
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is like, just being in, I mean, metals don't look the best right this second, but being in metals for a few months kind of helped capture a lot of gains that a lot of times in the stock market take years to capture. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no,
It's crazy.
I think having some cash for later this year makes a lot of sense. I think not being only cash, I think that getting some exposure to like international markets looks good. I've been pretty bullish on energy and manufacturing, and that stuff has been doing really really well. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough market. Hopefully, we'll have better days in the future, but it's tough right now, that's for sure. Even
You
I
don't
mean,
think
even being bearish, I'm like, I don't. It can be scary sometimes.
you don't think crypto's going to zero though?
I don't think it's going to zero, but I think a lot of crypto is going to zero.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Bitcoin is, but I think a lot of all. I mean, the reality is there's so many, there's millions of cryptocurrencies,
Oh yeah.
and how do we grow as an industry if everyone like the mainstream, a lot of people just equate Bitcoin to like a lot of meme coins and stuff. You know, they don't really
Yeah.
necessarily understand the difference. So
Yeah.
I think as an industry, we have to rebuke all the garbage in the space and then focus more on, developers that are trying to build something. Because the reality is a lot of the developers that tried to build anything in the last cycle were not rewarded. The people that
Yeah.
were rewarded were the people that just launched meme coins. I mean, that's who
Yeah.
got, and they made off like bandits while everyone else got wrecked. So
Yeah.
that's the unfortunate reality that we're in.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
yeah, I mean, hopefully things will hopefully things normally when the bear narrative gets really strong, we get bounces at some point, which is why it's been
I mean, it's
surprising so
pretty
far that we
strong right now, dude.
I
Like it's
know, but you could have
pretty
argued it
strong.
was strong. Yeah, but you could have argued it was strong at 73K, like, um, what's
Like that,
funny is if
but
you
like as a bull, I definitely do more bullish analysis than bearish analysis. But like genuinely, I've started this channel. When did you start your channel, by the way?
2019, which is why I keep making the comparison to 2019.
Okay, I started mine like the top of like the 2017. Like I started right at the beginning of 2018, that top, and
Yeah,
like
a lot.
every cycle, I've not seen like the sentiment this bad, and I know for sure it's not been this bad. So my thing is how much worse can it possibly get? But so as somebody that is like, all right, you're doing some more bearish analysis. Even the bear sentiment is tough for you, right? Like,
Because intrinsically, I know no one will believe this, and maybe you'll even get a kick out of it. Intrinsically, I enjoy being bullish, right? So, when I first got interested in crypto more than a decade ago, I was always bullish on it. Like I was always just bullish on it. I was bullish on it in 2013 and 2015 and 2016. I was bullish on it in 2014 when the market dropped. Right, like I was always just bullish on it. And then what happened is in 2020 and 2021, I just saw so much garbage start launching, right? Like and it felt like we sort of went away from like trying to build something or pretending to build something, which is what some people might say, to just everyone admitting that no one's building anything in the meme coin space and it's all just, it's just a casino, right? So that was when I started to become cynical because it felt like what crypto used to be is no longer what it was, and instead of focusing on how is crypto going to change the world, it seemed like everyone was more focused on meme coins and the Solana meme coin stuff that we saw this past cycle. They were focused more on strategic reserves and ETFs. The problem is all that stuff, all it attempts to do is try to bring more money into the space, but it doesn't actually try to make things better, right? It doesn't actually try to integrate crypto into society like AI is getting integrated into society.
yeah,
And I
I
think
know.
as an industry,
It's annoying.
we lost our way. I think we
It's
lost our
annoying.
way. So I became relatively cynical and have been relatively cynical ever since. But by the end of this year, it'll be hard to be cynical if it continues like this.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think it ever will be the same, by the way, especially with like institutions and just there's a big pivot and redistribution going on. I just don't think crypto will ever be the same. It'll be interesting to see if it trades the same.
Well, the problem with thematic ETFs is by the time they're launched, they're usually launched at the end of bull markets,
Yeah,
Um, so like when the QQQ was launched in 1999, we had a bull market for one more year, and then we had a multi-year bear market.
yeah.
You could argue that, you could. I mean, I know Bitcoin topped in Q4, but against a lot of things, it's actually down, even throughout all of 2025, I believe.
What's up?
So like if you look at Bitcoin against the euro, it basically topped in early 2025. It only like swept the high a little bit later. So you could already argue that Bitcoin's been in a bear market for, at least since October. You could make the case it's been in the bear market for a little over a year. Um, so maybe that's exactly what we need. It's just a bear market from 2025 through 2026 to help reset everything.
Yeah. And then bull market. And then we get some bullish
Hopefully,
Ben videos.
Yeah, I know. I know. Hopefully. I mean, I'd love to be, to do that. I really would. I like being bullish on things because as I've always said, the bears sound smart, the bulls make money. But the bears are right in crypto approximately once every 4 years. And that's just kind of where we are right now.
So it'll be fun though. Like it was actually awesome to have this chat, dude. Like talking about
Yeah,
the PMI. It's going to be cool to see how things play out. I've just been looking at the chat. Everybody's like, make it stop. Because I think as we're talking, it just like keeps falling. Everything keeps falling.
I know.
But
I know. It's hard to watch, even as someone who wants who thinks it's going to drop and wants it to go to like the 200-week moving average. Like it's hard to watch.
what is it? How close are we? It's like, what
The
is that?
200 week is around 58K. So, maybe that. I mean, that's the
Well,
major area that I've been talking about is the 200 week.
we're like 10% away. That's a nothing move. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
the
and
thing
by
is,
the way,
yeah.
it's just so oversold as that's happening. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, in 2021, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Bitcoin dropped about 11% below the support level from the summer in 2021. So, like, the summer low we had in 2021, um,
Like right
uh,
here,
in no, in 2021, not 2022.
June 2021. Like right here, right?
That's 2018.
Really? Can you see my screen? Maybe.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm looking at it on YouTube. Let me look at it on your screen.
Uh,
All right, where are you pointing?
so
Oh
right
yeah, yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
50
Right.
week.
Yeah. So you see when we had the drop in 2022, how there was like a wick down below that level?
Yeah,
That wick down was about 11% lower, which is exactly where we are right now. So, but the problem is even if we get a bounce, it still is likely a lower high.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I
That's what's
mean,
crazy. If you think about in the grand scheme of things on this Bitcoin chart, like it's falling, it could keep going lower. It could go to this higher low Fibonacci that I have here. Like it's still a higher low if you just zoom out on the crypto cycles, And
yeah,
that's probably what gets me in trouble. Like I see that just as a person, like sitting at the counter in my kitchen, like I see that I'm like, dude, that's so bullish. We're capitulating and we're still in a higher low. Like we're just
right.
getting started in this space. Like I really do feel like it's still so undervalued. And I think that gets me in trouble because then I hop on, I do videos because I'm so macro minded. I'm like, let's go. Like I'm here for that long term. Um,
Mhm.
but either way, it's gonna be cool to track this, especially after this conversation. And I mean, don't be so hard on us, PMI business cycle guys. Okay, come on.
I tweeted out the ISM, and I think I had about 10 to 12 guys tell me how dumb I was for but but I mean, like we all have our own opinions. No one's right 100% of the time. I've sure had my fair share of incorrect calls.
Yeah,
Um
dude,
I mean, the
we all
reality,
do.
the funny thing is like I don't even think a lot of that stuff matters right now. I mean, I just think we're in a bear market because Bitcoin's always in a bear market at this time.
Do you get a lot of like clown emoji comments and people just putting a laughy emoji? You get that a lot? I just wanted to ask you because like I get those
Yeah.
all the time. Like I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if that's
mean,
a
yeah, and especially I have to imagine that whenever we do get a bounce, I'm sure it'll get really toxic on my timeline. Um,
that's maybe what it is because we're falling, so my timeline's not looking good, dude.
yeah, so
Not
when we
looking good.
bounce, your timeline will look fine, and then mine will look bad.
Yes, exactly. Well,
Yeah,
dude, I appreciate you, man. Try to
yeah.
ignore
Thanks
the
for having
hate.
me on.
Yeah, thanks. I'm so glad it was actually really you. It was fun, dude. We have to do it again too because I think it's really valuable for people out there too that are just like, they're just trying to
Right.
figure everything out as well and be prepared. So, appreciate you coming on, Benjamin.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
awesome
Thanks for
awesome
having
to
me. I'll
have you
see
here.
you. See you
Yeah.
next time.
I'll see you later. See you, man. There it is. I can't believe I made that work cuz I have no idea what I'm doing. Like even right now I don't even know how to change a screen. But it's time for lunch and that was awesome having Benjamin on. It's okay to I mean it was such a valuable conversation like that I've been wanting to have cuz like we have different different views on the charts and stuff but like it's cool just to disagree and see other perspectives and just work it into like the macro plan. At least for me, like that's how I look at it. So if you're out there and if you're giving Ben a tough time, stop it, dude. Like show some love, man. It's crypto too. So please support Benjamin, and I appreciate him coming on. But I'm gonna go eat some lunch. 22,000 people. 22,000 people on the live stream. And I don't even know what I'm doing with the technicals. If you're out there, you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe. I really appreciate all of you cruising through. If you got any value from the content, hit that like. And if you're not in our intelligence system, risk-based planning, hit the free trial in the link below. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hang in there. No matter if you're a bear or a bull, I love you. It's going to be all right. I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.